I am the Bendu, the one in the middle. I have watched the eternal dance of light and dark for millennia, each claiming supremacy, neither understanding truth. But in another path, another possibility, a stormtrooper named Finn discovered what the ancients knew, that the Force is not two, but one. This is his story, the story of balance reborn. The snow fell like ash across the darkening forest of Starkiller Base, each flake catching the crimson glow of Kylo Ren's unstable lightsaber. Finn's breath came in ragged gasps, his stolen jacket torn and bloodied from the duel. He could barely hold the blue lightsaber steady. Luke Skywalker's legendary weapon felt alien in his grip, like trying to wield lightning with bare hands. Traitor! Behind Finn, Rey lay unconscious against a tree, thrown there moments ago by an invisible hand. The Force, that mystical energy Finn had only heard whispered about in the darkest corners of First Order barracks. The Dark Warrior raised his blade for a killing strike, and in that moment, something deep within Finn shifted. Time seemed to slow. The falling snow hung suspended in the air. Finn's heartbeat thundered in his ears, but beneath it, he heard something else, a whisper, ancient and profound, speaking words he somehow understood. The Force is not a weapon, it is a choice. Without thinking, without training, Finn thrust out his left hand. Raw energy erupted from his palm, not the refined telekinesis of a Jedi, but something primal, desperate, and undeniably powerful. Kylo Ren flew backward, slamming into a tree with enough force to splinter the ancient bark. Impossible! You're nobody! A stormtrooper! Janitor scum! Finn felt the energy coursing through him now, wild and untamed. It wasn't just flowing around him, it was part of him, had always been part of him, locked away by conditioning and conformity. My name is Finn. The ground beneath them began to crack and tremble. Starkiller Base was dying, its weapon turned against itself by the Resistance bombers, but Finn barely noticed. His entire focus narrowed to the figure in black before him and the unconscious woman behind him. Rey. He had to protect Rey. You feel it, don't you? The power, the rage. You want to strike me down. That's the dark side calling you, FN-2187. Don't call me that! The blue lightsaber hummed louder in Finn's grip, responding to his emotion. But something strange happened. The blade flickered, just for a moment, shifting from pure blue to something else. Gray, like storm clouds pregnant with lightning. Kylo noticed it too. His stance shifted from aggressive to cautious. What are you? Before Finn could answer, the ground split between them, a massive chasm opening as the planet tore itself apart. Through the chaos, Finn heard a familiar roar, the Millennium Falcon hovering just beyond the tree line. Chewbacca had found them. Without hesitation, Finn deactivated the lightsaber and lifted Rey into his arms. But as he turned to run, Kylo's voice cut through the collapsing forest. This isn't over, Finn. What you've awakened, it will consume you, or transform you. The choice is yours. Finn didn't look back. He ran toward salvation, toward the Falcon. But Kylo's words echoed in his mind. What had he awakened? And more importantly, what would he choose to do with it? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. We thank you all for your continued support. The medical bay of the Resistance base on Kadar hummed with quiet efficiency. Rey lay peaceful in a healing trance, monitored by the best medics the Resistance could muster. Finn sat beside her, staring at his hands. They looked the same, dark skin marked by a lifetime of combat training, calluses from wielding weapons he'd never chosen to hold. But they felt different. Everything felt different. You saved her life. Finn looked up to find General Leia Organa watching him. Even in simple combat fatigues, she carried herself with the bearing of royalty, and something more. A presence that reminded him of his encounter with Kylo Ren, but warmer, like sunlight instead of shadow. I don't know what I did. It just happened. Leia moved into the room with surprising grace for her age, her eyes never leaving Finn's face. The Force often reveals itself in moments of desperate need. But what you did, I felt it from across the galaxy. An awakening, yes, but not like Rey's. Something different. Something that hasn't been seen in a very long time. Ma'am? Tell me, Finn, and please, call me Leia. What did you feel when you pushed my son away? My son. The words hung in the air like a confession. Finn swallowed hard. I felt everything. Anger at what he'd done, fear for Rey, but also understanding. Like I could see the pain driving him, the conflict. It was all there, all at once, and I just used it. You used it, not channeled it, not released it. Used it. Is that bad? That depends entirely on what you choose to do next. Finn, what do you know about the Force? Not much. The First Order taught us it was a trick, a legend. Then I met Rey, saw what she could do, and what Kylo Ren could do. The First Order, like the Empire before it, feared the Force because they couldn't control it. The Jedi and the Sith have warred for millennia over how it should be used. Light against dark, peace against passion, an endless cycle of victory and defeat. But what if I told you there was another way? Finn felt something stir in his chest, curiosity mixed with hope. Another way? My father, Anakin Skywalker, fell to the dark side because the Jedi wouldn't let him love. My son fell because he couldn't reconcile the light and dark within himself. The galaxy has paid the price for this rigid thinking again and again. But you felt both and chose neither. You found balance in the chaos. I don't understand. That's exactly why you might be exactly what the galaxy needs. Would you like to learn more? The ancient texts smelled of age and secrets. Finn ran his fingers along the weathered pages, feeling the weight of history beneath his fingertips. These weren't the pristine holocrons of the Jedi Temple. These were fragments, hidden writings, philosophies deemed too dangerous for orthodox teachings. These survived Alderaan. My adoptive father, Bail Organa, was a student of history. He collected writings from across the galaxy. Jedi, yes, but also others. The Guardians of the Wills, the Shamans of the Wills, even some writings from the ancient Jedi before the schism that created Jedi and Sith. There is no peace without passion. There is no passion without peace. In balance, we find purpose. In purpose, we find the Force. Different from what Luke taught Rey, isn't it? Rey's training with Master Skywalker? They'd been at this for weeks now, stolen moments between missions where Leia could guide him through meditation, philosophy, and careful experimentation with his newfound abilities. Luke believes in the Jedi way. Emotional detachment, serenity, selflessness. It's not wrong, but it's incomplete. The dark side isn't evil, Finn. Passion, anger, even fear, these are part of being alive. The evil comes from being consumed by them, controlled by them. Like Kylo Ren. Like Ben. He could never find balance. The light called to him, but he'd committed himself to the dark. The conflict is tearing him apart. Finn closed the book gently. Why are you telling me this? Why trust me with these teachings? Because you've already proven you can walk the line. You faced Ben. You didn't give in to anger or fear. You used them, controlled them, and then let them go. That's not Jedi. That's not Sith. That's something else. Poe thinks I'm crazy. Yesterday I was practicing, trying to lift rocks while angry, then immediately meditating to find calm. He said I looked like I was arguing with myself. Poe Dameron is the best pilot in the Resistance, but philosophy was never his strong suit. How does it feel to you? Like I'm finally whole. All my life in the First Order, they tried to strip away my emotions, make me a machine. The Jedi way feels like a different kind of suppression. But this, acknowledging everything I feel and choosing how to use it, it's freedom. Freedom. That's exactly what it is. But freedom is dangerous, Finn. It means responsibility for every choice. The Jedi Code and the Sith philosophy are cages, yes, but they're also safety nets. Without them, I could fall. Or you could fly. There's someone I think you should read about. They called him the Bendu, the one in the middle. Neither light nor dark, but balanced between them. As Finn began to read, he felt a presence at the edge of his consciousness. Rey. She was returning from Ahch-To, her training with Luke complete. But something was different about her presence in the Force. Brighter, yes, but also more rigid, more defined. She's changed. As have you. The question is, can two different philosophies of the Force coexist? Or will you, like so many before you, be forced to choose a side? The reunion should have been joyful. Rey descended the Falcon's ramp with newfound confidence, her movements fluid with Jedi training. Her face lit up when she saw Finn waiting for her. Finn, I have so much to tell you. Master Luke, the ancient texts, the island. You feel different. So do you. Where once Rey's presence in the Force had been wild and free like a desert wind, now it felt contained, channeled, like a river forced between narrow banks. I've been training. Luke taught me control, serenity, the Jedi way. What have you been doing? Before Finn could answer, Poe's voice crackled over the intercom. Hey, reunion party, hate to interrupt, but we've got company. First Order scouts, 3 clicks out. The moment of tension broke as training took over. Rey ignited her lightsaber, a new one, Finn noticed, built during her time with Luke. The blade shone pure blue, unwavering. Finn reached for the lightsaber Maz had given him, a gift she procured through her mysterious channels. When he ignited it, Rey gasped. The blade was silver, with the faintest shimmer of shadow at its core. What is that? My choice. Together they ran toward danger. The skirmish was brief but revealing. Rey fought with perfect Jedi form, defensive, precise, each movement flowing into the next like a choreographed dance. Finn's style was something else entirely. He met aggression with aggression, then suddenly shifted to evasion. He used anger to fuel powerful strikes, then released it to dodge with serene grace. You're fighting like them, like the dark side. I'm fighting like me. But even as he said it, he felt her disapproval through their connection, a cold wall of judgment. They won, of course. The scouts never stood a chance against 2 Force users. But as the smoke cleared and the adrenaline faded, Rey and Finn stood facing each other, lightsabers still ignited. Luke warned me about this, the temptation of the dark side. Finn, you're walking a dangerous path. And you're walking a narrow one. Rey, I've felt both sides of the Force. There's wisdom in the light, yes, but there's truth in the dark too. Why should we have to choose? Because that's how people fall. Anakin Skywalker thought he could use both. Look what happened to him. Anakin Skywalker was manipulated and controlled. I'm making my own choices. So is Kylo Ren. The name hung between them like a blade. Finn felt his anger spike. How dare she compare him to that monster? But then, wasn't that exactly what the old Finn would have done? Instead, he breathed deep, acknowledged the anger, and let it pass. You're right. Kylo Ren made his choices. Bad ones. But Rey, the answer isn't to swing so far to the light that we become blind to shadow. There has to be balance. Rey deactivated her lightsaber, but her expression remained troubled. The Jedi kept peace for 1,000 generations, Finn. And then they fell, in a single day, because they couldn't adapt, couldn't change. I'm not asking you to abandon your path, Rey. I'm just asking you to accept that it might not be the only one. She studied him for a long moment, and Finn saw the conflict in her eyes. The Rey who'd survived Jakku by any means necessary, warring with the Rey who'd found purpose in Jedi philosophy. I need to meditate on this, but Finn, be careful. The Force is not a toy, and the dark side is not my master. Neither is the light. I serve the balance. As Rey walked away, Finn felt a disturbance in the Force, distant but powerful. Somewhere in the galaxy, Kylo Ren had felt their confrontation, and he was intrigued. The Knights of Ren came at midnight. Finn woke to screaming alarms and the distinctive sound of lightsabers carving through metal. 6 figures in black, each wielding their own unique weapons, spread out through the base like shadows given form. They're after you. Ben sent them. He wants to see what you've become. Then let's not disappoint him. Where's Rey? Leading the evacuation with Poe. This is your fight, Ben, but remember, balance in all things, I know. The first knight found him in the main hangar. Trudgeon, wielding a massive vibrocleaver, his mask a grotesque parody of death. He attacked without words, without warning, raw brutality given form. Old Finn would have met strength with strength. Jedi Finn would have deflected and redirected, but this Finn, balanced Finn, did something unexpected. He ducked under the massive swing, calling on fear to speed his movements, then channeled calm to precisely strike the knight's knee. As Trudgeon stumbled, Finn used controlled anger to fuel a force push that sent the warrior flying. Interesting, you fight without form, without doctrine. I fight to win. What followed was not a duel, it was a dance. Finn flowed between emotional states like water, each one a tool in his arsenal. Joy made him unpredictable, grief gave his strikes weight, hope let him see possibilities, fear kept him alive. The knights, trained in the dark side's rigid structure, couldn't adapt to his fluid style.
You're an abomination, neither Jedi nor Sith. You're nothing.
I'm everything, and that terrifies you. By the time Rey arrived, 4 knights lay defeated, not dead. Finn had been careful about that, but thoroughly beaten. She found him facing the last 2, his presence in the Force like a storm, dark clouds and lightning mixed with clear sky and sun. Finn, stop! You're losing yourself! No, I'm finding myself. The last 2 knights fell moments later, and as they did, Finn felt him, Kylo Ren, reaching out through the Force, not attacking, just observing. You're not what I expected. Not Jedi. Not Sith. What are you? I'm the future. The Force isn't meant to be divided, Ren. It's meant to be whole. Whole. You think you can heal the wound between light and dark? I think I can try. The question is, will you let me? The connection cut abruptly, leaving Finn gasping. Rey steadied him, her concern evident despite their philosophical differences. What did he want? To understand, just like the rest of us. The ancient texts called it the Gathering Storm, the moment when the Force itself would demand resolution. As the Resistance prepared for their final confrontation with the First Order, Finn felt it building. The entire galaxy held its breath, waiting for the clash that would determine its fate. Exegol, the hidden world of the Sith, where Palpatine had cheated death and built his final armada. As the Resistance fleet emerged from hyperspace to face impossible odds, Finn stood on the bridge of the Tantive IV beside Leia, Rey, and Pope. It's a trap! How can we fight that? With hope. With courage. With balance. Rey, we need to get to the surface. Palpatine's the key. If he falls, the fleet falls. Agreed. Whatever our differences, we face this together. Together. The descent to Exegol's surface was harrowing. TIE fighters swarmed like insects, but Finn and Rey worked in perfect synchronization, her defensive style protecting them while his aggressive techniques cleared a path. They landed hard, the ancient Sith citadel looming before them like a wound in reality. Such brave children. The last Jedi and something else. Something new. The ancient Sith Lords sat suspended in machinery, neither alive nor dead, but something obscene between. Something you can't control. Control? My dear boy, I am control. I am the dark side incarnate. And you're an impossibility, a paradox. Let me correct that mistake. Lightning erupted from his fingers, not the blue-white of Force lightning, but something darker, tinged with the red ancient Sith alchemy. Rey raised her saber to block, but the assault was too powerful. She screamed, driven to her knees. No! Finn didn't think, didn't plan. He simply acted. Instead of trying to block the lightning or deflect it, he did something that should have been impossible. He absorbed it. The dark power flowed into him, and instead of consuming him, he transformed it. The lightning emerged from his other hand, but changed, silver-white, balanced between light and dark. What are you? I'm Finn, former stormtrooper, friend, warrior. I am anger and peace, fear and courage, love and loss. I am the Force as it was meant to be, whole. The Citadel shook as two philosophies of the Force clashed, but Finn wasn't alone. Rey rose beside him, adding her strength to his, and then, impossibly, another presence, Kylo Ren, arrived through the Force itself. Ren? I felt it, through him, the balance, the way back. You were right, the Force isn't meant to be divided. 3 children playing with powers beyond their comprehension. I've lived for centuries. I am eternal. Nothing is eternal. Everything changes. Everything finds balance, even you. What happened next would be debated by Force scholars for generations. Finn didn't attack Palpatine, he embraced him. Not physically, but through the Force. He took all of the Sith Lord's hatred, his fear, his desperate clinging to life, and instead of fighting it, he accepted it, acknowledged it. And then, gently, he showed Palpatine what he'd been missing. The light that gave shadow meaning, the peace that made passion valuable, the life that made death natural. No, this is not the way. It's a way, one of many. Your mistake was thinking there could only be one. Balance. I had forgotten what balance felt like. The ancient Sith Lord crumbled, not destroyed by violence, but by understanding. The Citadel began to collapse, Palpatine's will no longer holding it together. That was impossible. Everything I was taught, everything the texts say. You can't convert a Sith Lord with compassion. You can't convert anyone, but you can show them choices they'd forgotten existed. Above them, the First Order fleet faltered, Palpatine's dark influence severed. The Resistance pressed their advantage, and slowly, impossibly, victory became possible. In the aftermath, as the galaxy celebrated the fall of the First Order, 3 Force users stood in the ruins of the second Death Star on Kef Bir. The wreckage served as a reminder of cycles repeated, of victories that led to new wars, of light and dark eternally clashing. So what now? The Jedi are gone, the Sith are ended, what comes next? Whatever we choose. Finn showed me that the Force is bigger than ancient doctrine. Maybe it's time for something new. Not new, balanced. The Jedi had it right before they split into Jedi and Sith. The Force isn't a weapon or a philosophy, it's life itself. Messy, complicated, beautiful life. Will you help us rebuild? The galaxy needs Force users, teachers, protectors. Finn smiled, but shook his head. You'll rebuild the Jedi, Rey. It's who you are, and the galaxy needs that light. Ben, you'll find your own path. Maybe redemption, maybe something else. The choice is yours now. And you? I'm going to travel, learn. There are Force traditions across the galaxy that have nothing to do with Jedi or Sith. The Bardotans, the Night Sisters, the Zepho. If we're going to prevent this cycle from repeating, we need to understand all aspects of the Force, not just the ones that fit our philosophy. You're leaving? I'm exploring, and I'll be back. The Force isn't done with any of us yet. But next time we meet, maybe we'll all understand a little better that there's no single path to walk. Finn, what do we call you? If not Jedi or Sith, then what? The ancient texts Leia showed me speak of gray Jedi, those who walked between light and dark. But that's not quite right either. I'm not gray. I'm every color at once. Call me a student. That's all any of us really are. Years passed. The New Republic rose from the ashes of war. Rey's Jedi Order grew, teaching compassion and justice. Ben Solo disappeared into the unknown regions, seeking redemption in solitude. And Finn? Finn wandered. In Jedha, the ruins of the Holy City, he meditated with the last guardians of the Wills. In the swamps of Dagobah, he communed with lingering Force echoes, learning from whispers of ancient masters. On Mortis, that mythical realm between realities, he stood where the father once maintained balance between son and daughter, light and dark. His lightsaber evolved with his understanding. No longer simply silver, it shifted colors like oil on water. Sometimes blue, sometimes red, sometimes gold or purple or white, but always balanced, always whole. Those who met him spoke of a teacher unlike any other, one who helped them find their own relationship with the Force, rather than imposing a dogma. On a nameless world at the galaxy's edge, Finn sat beneath alien stars, his latest student, a young Twi'lek who fled both Jedi and Sith teachings, practicing beside him. Master Finn, how do you know when you found balance? You don't find balance, you choose it. Every day, every moment, in every decision between light and dark, you choose to see both and pick your path. That's the real power. Not the Force itself, but the freedom to decide how to use it. As his student nodded and returned to meditation, Finn felt a familiar presence touch his mind. Rey, reaching out across the galaxy. Her Jedi Order was facing a crisis, a student who couldn't choose between light and dark, torn apart by the conflict. Send them to me. Not everyone is meant to be a Jedi. Not everyone deserves to find their place in the Force. He stood, gathering his few possessions. It was time to move on, to teach and learn in equal measure. As he walked toward his ship, a gift from Poe, who understood wanderlust more than most, Finn paused to watch the twin suns set over the horizon. Somewhere in the Force, he felt the approval of those who came before, not just Jedi or Sith, but all those who'd sought to understand the great mystery. Luke Skywalker, who'd learned that even legends could grow. Leia Organa, who'd showed him that strength came from choice. Even Anakin Skywalker, whose fall and redemption proved that no path was permanent. The Force spoke to him then, not in words, but in feeling. A sense of rightness, of purpose fulfilled, and yet continuing. He had broken the cycle not through victory or defeat, but through understanding. The eternal war between light and dark would continue. It was the nature of existence, but it no longer needed to consume everything in its path. There could be a third way, a balanced way, a chosen way. And as Finn boarded his ship and set course for the stars, he knew his journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, the Force infinite in its expressions. There would always be more to learn, more to teach, more to balance. But that was the beauty of it. In a universe of absolutes, he had found the freedom of choice. And in that freedom, he had found himself. The Force sang around him as his ship jumped to hyperspace. Not the harsh discord of conflict, but the perfect harmony of balance. Light and dark, passion and peace, chaos and order, all united in the symphony of existence. This was not his path, not gray, but all colors at once. Not the end of a journey, but the beginning of infinite possibilities. The Force had awakened in Finn, and through him, it had remembered how to be whole. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows of what might have been, remember to hit that subscribe button and join us for more explorations of the infinite possibilities within that galaxy far, far away. May the Force be with you, always.